Hello, my name is Russell Myers, independent for U.S. President for 2024. The rail workers' struggle has illustrated something that I've failed to address in my policy proposals until now. So let me make my position clear on this subject. I am in favor of and would do all I can to mandate time off for workers. Paid time off, that is. Sick time, vacation time, maternal leave. If I leave something out, let me know. Note that other developed nations have mandatory time off for workers. Most mandate 2 weeks vacation time, and sick time varies. These are countries with far less cumulative monetary wealth than this country possesses. It seems reasonable that employees should be federally mandated to provide for 2 weeks of paid vacation time each year for full-time workers, which could be accumulated and not negated by the employer, including by termination. Employers who offer paid vacation time budget for the wages due to the employee as accounts payable. As long as the employee does not take any vacation time, that money remains an asset in the form of liquid assets. If the employer negates time off, such as a mandatory maximum, they may just erase the wages due, while in some cases they will pay off anything above that cap at a lower pay rate than the worker's standard pay rate. Accepting this agreement is mandatory. Otherwise, the worker gets nothing at all. The money is then considered part of the profit margin, paid out to investors via stock dividends, which means the company now owes nothing to the worker or kept part of the money and wages earned by the employee. This practice is unfair and is effectively wage theft by the employer. While these companies maintain funds as an account payable, they are relieved from paying taxes on the money that is held in escrow, or they use the money to gamble on the stock market or continue buying back their own stock, while making it extremely difficult for workers to be provided with time off. Sick time should be federally mandatory for all employers to offer workers. There may be some exceptions for small employers with fewer than 5 employees, depending on the nature of the business. A small stock brokerage firm would not be eligible. The skill set required should also be taken into account, such as, could the business hire a temporary worker through a staffing firm to replace the employee for time off? In most cases, workers should be allowed 14 sick days in a rolling calendar year for a full-time worker, with a maximum of 28 days, which can be accumulated if not used. I am in favor of unused sick time being transferable to another employee in a sick leave pool or direct donation. These requirements would apply to part-time workers, temp workers, and independent contractors, calculated according to hours worked. This way, employers would be unable to cut workers' hours or use creative categorization of workers to avoid paying for these benefits. Any business which cannot plan and budget for the health and well-being of their employees is either mismanaged or they are unethical. In the case of the railroad companies, or any company that fails to provide for paid time off, yet reports high profits and pays out dividends to investors, is unethical. As a nurse, I have worked at facilities that have a pool of on-call workers. In medical terminology, they are PRN. I have worked for years as a contract per diem nurse, where I filled in gaps in the schedule. I even greatly improved my skill set by doing this, making me more valuable to facilities when they needed someone to work, so I got called in more often. Sometimes I got a call at the very last minute asking me to work. Most businesses should follow this model. There's no real reason they could not. This even improves their possibility of hiring a worker full-time if the need arises. They already know the quality of the work provided by that worker, so they are taking less of a chance by offering that person a permanent position. Though I have my own humorous stories about that, which I won't go into. There have been many times that I have worked extra because of a lack of staffing. I have personally gone to work when I was sick because there was nobody to replace me, or because if I did not, I would not get paid. I was a contract temporary worker. Right now, I am on a contract, and if I get sick enough to not be able to work, I will not get paid for any hours I lose. I have short-term disability or illness coverage if I am out for more than 6 days, otherwise, nothing. I am also currently in a position that I could survive easily for some time if necessary without working, not for an extended period. And this has not always been the case. I see nurses, officers, and other workers attend work when they are sick with a contagious illness because of their financial position or because of threats of termination by the employer. This results in more workers becoming ill with the same condition. I have personally contracted colds, flu, and other illnesses from sick coworkers. I never got upset with my coworker about it. I became upset with the situation they were placed in and the choices they were forced to make. Sometimes a worker may have an acute illness or injury for which they should be able to convalesce, yet they are forced to work. This sometimes results in an acute condition becoming chronic or temporary. I have never been placed in the terrible position that the railway workers are forced to endure. If a company can use their profits to buy back their own shares for the benefit of investors and executives, they can definitely afford to provide workers with paid time off. The same is true if a company is willing to take out loans for the purpose of buying back shares. Workers are the heart of this economy. They deserve to be treated with respect, dignity, and appreciation. There are currently no industries today that function without some form of mandatory human labor input. This is allegedly the wealthiest country on earth, accounting for a significant percentage of global GDP. Yet our workers are treated as disposable and have fewer rights than many third world countries. I find this completely unacceptable and feel it is far beyond time for this change. If you listen to financial journals, you will always hear how growth is necessary. No, growth is not necessary. What we need is stability for the working class. Improved living conditions, including times of rest and self-care to preserve their mental and physical well-being. Illness and injury are always expressed by businesses as a loss because of reduced productivity. Yet, they do not consider it enough of a loss that they are willing to compensate for it. Instead, they will reduce staffing and force more productivity out of the remaining workers, which increases stress and risk of injury or illness to those remaining workers. If growth comes at the cost of forcing workers into such compromising positions, then this country is not wealthy at all. What is most enraging, is that you are not the least bit likely to see a corporate executive or member of Congress show up to work when they are ill or injured, unless it is to vote on some proposal which further makes conditions for the working class even worse for the benefit of the elite. The people of this country have never been truly provided for adequately. We have no freedom, as should be clearly evident by the bill forcing railroad workers back to work and blocking their ability to strike. We have no representation in our government. We have no voice. Our rights are legislated out of existence. Elected officials can claim they support unions, yet have shown they will oppose the rights of worker collective bargaining. What good is a union if they pass laws that oppose the unions? These are things which I will fight for, and not timidly. I have previously outlined tactics that a sitting president could use to improve rights for our citizens. Tactics like refusing to sign a bill or vetoing a bill. A president has the power to say, if I don't get what I want, you don't get what you want. Yes, a veto can be overridden, but I would strongly call out the fact that your elected officials refuse to function in a method for your benefit. It would force them to respond publicly to their own constituents on their positions and votes in direct opposition to presidential policy which would be in your favor. The only fighting which we see in Congress or between any president and Congress is political posturing and performative theater, while they move in lockstep against your benefit and your human and civil rights. They engage in distraction rather than action. They rage about issues which are virtually inconsequential to cover for their actions which degrade your quality of life. They fight for a congressional majority, then use that majority foolishly or even malevolently. We need a Congress which will act for the benefit of the people of this country. A major step leading to this is having a president that advocates for the people, for you. Such a president would have the capacity to raise visibility and accountability on issues related to your needs and concerns. I mean your real needs and concerns, rather than wasting energy and time on things like Dr. Seuss books or bluster. We need a president who is honest, dedicated, that cares about the American people and what we go through on a daily basis because they have lived that reality. I would absolutely be that president. Join me in this fight. Share this message in whatever form you encounter it, written or video. This is a true grassroots campaign, and I need any help you can offer. Help expand awareness of this campaign. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to expand the visibility of the campaign. Thank you for reading or watching. I hope you have a good day.